How's it going, everybody? Just waiting for the stream to kick off. All right, and we're live. How's it going, everybody? Today I'm going to be specifically making bass and crappie jigs. Bass season's right around the corner. Crappies in full swing. Around my parts, there's a lot of trout fishing going to be happening this weekend. I know turkey's going to be kicking off too, so it's a pretty exciting time to be in southern Ontario. Things are starting to open up again. Winter's finally over. At least in some parts of Ontario. I know there's other parts that are still snowed in. Alright, just put a little bit too much glue on the top of that guy. You don't need too much to start some of these wraps. Alright. Let's get going here. Probably going to go with a black thread to start. Just going to be making a black marabou. Black marabou jig to start. It's a staple. Staple everywhere in the country for big smallmouth, and you could even get some good largemouth on them. How's it going, Carol? I like to add a little bit of flash to my jigs too. All right. For me, I have Fridays off, so the next few days I'm going to be looking for some turkey and fishing hard over the weekend. Hopefully going for some trout. I got on some during the week. I got on some lake trout. Good lake trout on Spoon's Bite. That was a lot of fun. Alright, let's see. Sorry about that, guys. I'm gonna have a hard time finding the stream on so I can. Uh-oh. Let's see. Right here. Sweet. All right. Let's start getting this. So I just bought a new pack of marabou hair. This is Shore Fishing. Usually a small pack like this costs me $6.97. Yeah, this is just straight black. Black is good to throw kind of all times of year. So you could be throwing it in early season all the way to late season for smallmouth, and it's always going to work. Very versatile color. A lot of people think it kind of looks like a leech. I just think it stands out in the water, and they're hitting out of kind of what's that, and let me looks small and fluffy and weird in the water, moves well. This marabou goes really well in the current, so that's why they're eating them. And I like just pairing them on half head jigs. So I like taking the feather and just peeling both sides of it. I want to make sure these jigs are really fluffy. I do put a little trailer on the back of these guys. I use Maxcent. And I like that. Just I know Max sent like half of a Sanko or something, or some of my um, baits that I've been using during the day and that are no good no more. I could throw on the back of my hair jig, so it's kind of cost effective that way. Um, but I know Max sent it just proven scent works and makes your jig a little heavier, so you can throw it further. But usually on all my jig heads, I like using like I don't like going up to anything more than a 1/8. All right, let's get this first little bit wrapped on there. Couple loose wraps, and then I lock it down with tighter wraps. I don't want to make the neck of this bait very long either. For me, tying these jigs is definitely where I'm most comfortable at too. I've just tied a ton of them for a whole bunch of different people, and I've caught a lot of fish on these baits, on my own baits too, and it's these have been my go-to. If I were to ever sell my baits, I would sell this guy just because I have so much proven experience fishing them. All right, got another nice feather here. Just looking for kind of that dead hair right down here. See how that kind of has the white? You don't want to show up in your jig. How's it going, Julia? Just getting the ends of the feather like that, kind of making sure they're all on the same level to make sure it's super easy to put on the jig. Last weekend, I got on a really good lake trout bite, throwing spoons off of the pier on Lake Ontario. Got into a 29-inch lake trout, which from the shore I'll definitely take, and I also got a big 27-inch lake trout. Uh, one of them one of them took the bait a little too deep, so he was gill hooked. So we had him cooked up on the next day. I filleted him that day and had him cooked up, so no meat went to waste, and it was very, very good. How's it going, Larissa? All right, just getting even some more black marabou on it. This first one I'm just gonna make really generic, just straight black marabou, just because it is the best bait I use throughout the whole season. Just a normal black marabou jig. At least baits that I tie. They're very good. You really need a long whippy rod to throw some of these baits, just because they don't have much weight to them. Um, yeah, they don't have much weight at all. So a long, like 7/6 medium light. That's what I use for these. That should do the trick. You could go 7/4 too. It's just a little short for me. I kind of just want a longer rod. I'm not really going for accuracy with this jig here. Just trying to get it as far away from the boat as possible and reel as slow as possible back to the boat. It's not a bait where you kind of jig it and watch it come back to the boat. It's more of a bait where it you cast and retrieve. All right. The only real pain about tying these guys is sometimes the marabou gets in the way. There we go. Each jig probably costs around to make, probably around $4. People sell them around $10 for the time that it takes to make the jig and stuff. I really don't know how much that they retail that for, because I make my own. Just getting some tighter wraps on here, making sure this is on there pretty good. All right. Yeah, so the lake trout fishing I was doing this weekend was I was casting out spoons. I was using a chartreuse and silver color, and I was just letting it fall right to the bottom. And when it hit the bottom, I'd reel in super slow. There's a lot of rocks in Lake Ontario, so I'd let it hit a lot of those rocks. And when I was with a slow retrieve, I'd keep it down in the water column longer, kind of where those lake trout are. And they would just smash it right from the bottom there. So it was a really good week for me this week. I'm gonna have a video coming out hopefully in a few days. Just working on editing that video now. Yeah, some big fish were caught. Me and my buddies, Ben and his brother, were with me, and they got 2 and 3. Ben's brother got 2, Ben got 3, I got 2. So a lot of fish are going to be shown in this video. Anybody got any plans to go fishing this weekend? Or any turkey hunting or any outdoor activities? All right. Let's get this clump of feathers on here. There we go. There's a big clump of hair there. Sweet. It's a really good filler. Fills in that jig very well. And I'm just going to finish with some really tight wraps of thread. A lot of times you can go over the ends with your thread and make it look cleaner. But again, I'm trying to make that neck of the bait as small as possible. I want this bait to just be all fluff. Because in the water, when you stop that jig, all that hair is going to poof out and make a really cool motion in the water. Yeah, so right now, if you're fishing from shore, it's a great time to go out if you live near the Great Lakes or lakes with lake trout in it. If you catch the water temperature just right, you're going to be able to catch lake trout from shore this time of year. Especially if you find like a pier that you can cast off with some deeper water nearby. Just because of lake trout, they're usually a deep species, and they come up in the early parts of spring, just because that's where the water temperatures are the best. All their baits there, they have the most comfortable there, and they roam around near the shallows, and you have the opportunity of catching big brown trout too this time of year. Up there, and we did get a big brown trout that I'll be showing on that next video too. But yeah, you have a really good shot at a trophy fish, a trophy trout from shore. And also, trout's opening up this weekend, so it's just a great time to be a trout angler. But saying that, I know on the U.S. side, Lake Erie, all the ice has just came off from last weekend's wind. Pushed all that ice down the river, so all of Lake Erie is going to be accessible and ready to fish smallmouth or largemouth. So super exciting. I'm more of a bass guy myself, but I do love trout fishing. So I'm going to be doing, I think, a little bit of trout fishing this week. I already have a lot of trout flies. That's why I'm tying marabous this live stream. I just need some more marabous in my lineup, and I'm tying for some people in specific who need some marabou jigs to catch some big ones. Hope everybody's excited for the weekend. For me, the week really drags because I know I'm gonna have I'm going to a baseball game on Monday, so I'm gonna have that day off, and I'm gonna have hopefully a really good week of fishing ahead of me, ahead of me. So I was really looking forward to this weekend, and I have the potential to kill my first turkey. So should be good. Should be a good weekend. Hopefully, I get another video recorded because of it. All right, we're gonna do our whip finish on this, and this looks pretty good. This marabou jig, it's got a lot of fluff on it. That looks really good. Just on that little half head, you could use this head for Ned rigs. I use all these guys, the Berkeley Essentials half head jigs. This is the 1/16. That's usually what I tie most of my jigs with. If I'm getting tournament grade jigs, I'll use the Berkeley half finesse head. But just because I think the hook's a little bit stronger. But these finesse heads I've caught in some really big fish on. I haven't had them bend out on me or anything like that. So they're a really reliable hook. And you could tie a lot of baits with them for a little cheaper. And it's kind of nice on the wallet that way. All right, let's start our whip finish on this jig. One, two, three, 4 ups. And get that on there. Some hair is going to come out of this jig. That's just that extra hair that you didn't properly get in there. If I had to fight one fish, which one am I choosing? I'm going to assume you mean like catch. If there's one fish that's the hardest fighting pound for pound, freshwater fish, I'll go with a steelhead, rainbow trout. And then for saltwater fish, I really heard some people talking about a fish called, shoot, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, a bonefish. Heard those are really, physical fight. Well, I think I'd choose a fish I'd win against. Probably a bluegill. They actually, you know what? They have spines. Let me think of a fish. That's a good question. I don't know. I never thought about that. Probably a crappie. There's really not much to them. Choosing Nemo. Yeah, imagine losing your dad and like, get it together, pal. Technically, Nemo is 0-1 against that diver. All right, first jig done for the day. Give that, hang that guy up to dry. Next one we're going to work on is a crappie jig. I'm going to go with a chartreuse one. Chartreuse ball head jig. This guy right here. This is a really good hookup ratio on the crappie that I fish around my area, so that's why I like tying with it. This guy. Perfect hook size and jig head size. I would personally consider that a scary movie, yeah. It's a horror film. We're gonna wrap this in a cool body. So I'm gonna make the tail with yellow chartreuse on this yellow jig, and then I'm gonna go with a gold pearl mixed hollow chenille just to give it this jig a little bit more personality. So first thing I'm gonna do is switch my string from black to white. A lot of this is going to be covered up anyway, the neck of the bait, but by the chenille, but it's good to kind of blend in so that people, if you do make a mistake, you don't kind of see that. I've never used this new chenille, so it should make a pretty cool bait. What's the strangest thing I've ever pulled out of the water that wasn't a fish? That's a good question. I pulled out a couple gross things out of the water that wasn't a fish. Like last time I went fishing, I actually caught a glove. That was kind of weird, like a plastic glove. Other than that, I caught a magnet before, like one they use for magnet fishing. Caught that in the Grand River before. That was pretty cool. Alright, going around with my threads here. Just making a solid body out of it. I'm not going to put any, I don't really need this hook keeper here. Usually I clip that off, but I think I can get around it for this tie. There we go. Snip the tag end. Got a good amount of marabou hair just to have a nice tail to work with. I don't need kind of the most pristine feathers on this one. Just these ones near the tip of the feathers are the best. This side. Grab this side too. On a small jig, you don't really need much feather. You could use bucktail on this too. If you want more of kind of a stiff approach on the jig. If you're making a jig to catch brews from Finding Nemo, what would be your approach? A big jig with that looks like Dory. What's with the Finding Nemo questions today, guys? Alright, so I really want all this marabou to kind of just come out of the tail, so I'm going to go right around to the bend of the hook, just so I can make my chenille be a big topic of this bait too, kind of go all the way down there. And it looks a little funny at the start, but when you add the chenille, it's going to make this whole jig look really clean. And have a really cool body on it. So let's start with the chenille now. Alright, never opened this one before. Fresh pack. That's going to look pretty cool. Alright. Got a couple wraps around it. Prettiest fish in my area is probably a brook trout or a pumpkin seed. I would say those are the two prettiest fish around. Alright, really giving these close wraps on this. Make a pretty cool looking body with this. I get my materials from a variety of different places. These stuff come from, or the stuff I'm using today come from Sale, but it's a company called Shore Fishing. I just find that they have some pretty good budget-friendly products. Not sponsored by any those companies or anything. It's just what I've used. Alright. Got that close. Finish my wraps up top. And that looks like a pretty good crappie bait here. There's a lot of that holograph stuff. I don't know if I really love how that wrapped on the bait there. I kind of like the cleaner look of just the normal body. I guess it worked out okay. It didn't work out horrible. Let's finish it off with a whip finish and get some glue on it. Work on the next bait. There we go. All right. So with bass season coming up, bass are going to be in certain spots depending on where you are in the world. So in south of the states, you're probably looking already at pre-spawn bass. So bass have already came off their spawning beds and are looking for some meals, and they're getting fat. A little bit more central of the United States, you're probably looking at fish that are getting into spawn mode, getting ready to start spawning, like maybe in Alabama. They're starting to spawn. And it could be a great time to find fish on beds and target fish like that, hungry fish on beds. And in this, where I am, it's pre-spawn, so ice just came off the lake last week, and it is a great time to target big, fat, hungry smallmouth that are stocking up to go spawn on their spawning grounds. So a good place to start looking if you're on a boat or from shore is sandy bays. Kind of the first drop off on sandy bays. And then you've got so find sandy bays. North sides of lakes can be really good to start targeting bass, just because those are the spots where the sun comes up in the morning. Sun comes up, it warms that side of the lake up a little faster, so it could be making those fish more susceptible to biting, and more likely that they're on a further spot of their spawning cycle. So they're pushed up to 20 feet instead of 30. Where I am, we fish a lot of smallmouth this time of year, and those fish can be still in those wintering holes, just starting to eat now, where a lot of baits that are bottom contact baits, like spoons, like little jigging spoons, and football heads can be really good this time of year. This jig head kind of looks a little funky, so I'm gonna this guy away. This guy to the side. That looks good. So fish could be really fish are on the move this time of year, no matter where you are in the country. Fish by my area, so I'm on going to be fishing the Buffalo side, Lake Erie. They're going to be pushing up onto rocks, where rocks are going to be a little bit more warm from the heat of the sun, and they're going to be slowly making their way up, eating gobies, and they're still going to be super fat from the winter, so it could be a great time to target your PB or catch that fish that you cannot catch in the summer just because it's so fat. So it could be a time of year where you could break your personal best. So it's a great time of year to go fishing. Just make sure you are within your state or province's laws. So I know in Ontario there is a closed season. Right now, I think till May 10th, we have an early catch and release season for bass. So that's that's a really fun thing that the Fish and Wildlife have given us in Zone 20. We're allowed to fish smallmouth and largemouth bass, just catch and release only. So as long as you're handling those fish with care, you shouldn't have any problems with ministry or anybody calling you out. But make sure to stop fishing for them if you're in Canada on May 10th, and settle or start fishing for other species of fish until fish are back open again in your province or state. I don't think any states really have any limitations, like any stopped times. Only provinces, so you just gotta make sure you read your regulations before you go out fishing. It's really important. They're there for a reason. A lot of people don't like them, but they are there for a reason, to keep the fishery healthy as possible. And yeah, these hair jigs are really good for post-spawn smallmouth. That's where they shine. When smallmouth are still up a little shallow. Same with largemouth when they're up a little shallow and they're on like a rocky bank or something you could find, maybe like, let's say like you could say see in 15 foot of water, you could see a whole bunch of rock. You could throw this jig, let it sink down to kind of that area, slowly retrieve this bait in, and you could be really effective at catching a lot of fish with this bait. So right when they're done spawning, even in the spawn too, you can find like the odd straggler that is finished spawning early, still roaming around kind of the bedding area, and you can do really well on finding them on marabous that time of year too. But they're also good throughout the whole summer. So right when you have a really if you're having a really tough time on the water, this could be a bait you can really go to if the fish are kind of in a funk where they're not eating much. They're really finicky. This is a bait I love going to in those situations where they kind of won't eat anything but a marabou or like a spy bait or something. So this is probably the most finesse you can get for smallmouth, other than like BFS stuff and even smaller jigs and micro baits. All right, got a whole bunch of feathers from this guy here. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of flash to this bait. Sometimes that could be the key difference between you catching a knot is just one little tweak on your bait. From going to a non-flash to a flash, something a little bit more that sticks out in the water. Those fish can really key in on that. I keep it simple with my hair jigs. I usually go with a natural kind of green looking one or a brown. If the mayflies are hatching, I'll go with a brown or a olive green. And if any other time, like midsummer, every single other situation, I go with the black. Just because it stands out so well in clear water. And fish just, for some reason, about black, they just love it. Companies now are starting to really pick up on the black bait craze and just make colors that are straight black. Berkeley has done it with their spy bait, and they made a color, I believe, called Maverick, and it's just a straight black bait. It's an unbelievable spy bait on the market. It's a great time to be outside today. It's unbelievable weather. We're finally starting to get summer looking weather where you can go outside in a t-shirt and start fishing. It's a great time to be outside, and just in time for trout to be in season. So get down to your local creeks and rivers and start going for trout if you're fishing this weekend, or if you're going for bass and you live in the States. Get out there and start fishing for pre-spawn bass, or whatever stage your bass are in. All right, working on the side of this bait here. Sweet. Anybody have any plans for the weekend? All right. Tomorrow I think I'm gonna set up a blind for turkey. hopefully get my first turkey tomorrow. Can't wait to get out there. I'll try to do my best of filming. No promises. I've never really filmed hunting before. Never really been good at hunting ever, so I don't know if that's going to be kind of on the front of my mind while being out there, but I love making content for whoever watches. Alright, so I just have that one more bare spot on this side of the hook where I'm going to add some filler jig. I've been going around this whole jig with one feather each. Some people even go with 2 feathers. I've never done that, but I've just peeled both sides of the feather, and it's worked enough for me. This looks like a good feather. Sweet. Awesome, there we go. Then just locking in that jig for the final little bit of marabou I'm going to put on it. Clean it up with my scissors. These scissors are specifically for fly tying, so they're really super sharp, have a curved end where I can really get into some hard to reach spaces that other scissors just can't. But if you're looking for materials for fly tying, I definitely recommend you're hunting and you just got like a turkey or something, save all the hackle from that. Every little bit of that animal that you could save to tie jigs is just kind of free material that probably never thought about grabbing. From a deer, the bucktail, even the body hair of a deer is really good. Alright, let's add some flash into this guy. We've probably got another one more jig after this to do. Then we'll call it a end of the live stream. But yeah, we've just gonna add a little bit of this flash so it really sticks out on this black background. If you guys can see that, I don't know if my camera's really picking that up. And I get around 4 strands on each side of this bait. Just add a little bit of flash and glamour to this bait. All right. Lock that in. Got 4 strands on that one side. So you guys can see that good. Just that little extra flash that makes it look just that much different from the rest of the marabou jigs that people are tying. It's kind of becoming a little bit more of a popular trend over the years. Just throw these tiny little baits for big, giant smallmouth. A lot of times in my area of the Great Lakes, bass opener is a time where fish could be on the move and pre-spawn, and these hair jigs are unreal right off the hop. And it could be the reason you catch your next PB is these little hair jigs. A lot of times there's a lot of pressure in the area too. That hair jig is just gonna be the best thing that you're gonna have going. And some days hair jig's all that you're gonna catch on. Alright, let's do a wet finish, get some glue on it, and on to the next one. I'm gonna do an orange body on the next one. I think an orange or a white on my next crappie bait. Maybe a white. I just like the look of them better. I did a kind of flashy one on my last one. How's it going, Robin? I've been out for perch or anything yet, or trout? Been drag you out for trout? Alright, sweet. Just got back? Nice. You guys get anything today? I wonder if the trout are moving out yet. Out to a little deeper of the water because of how warm it's been the last 2 days. I don't know if it's been warm enough to change the water that much. Just got one more Laker. Nice. Was that Laker in shallower water and deeper? Or are they still kind of hugging bottom? All right, let's go with one more crappie jig. Gonna tie it on this little super finesse head, really small hook. That's the Berkeley hybrid jig head, new one that they just came out with, a fusion hook. All right, I'm gonna go with a white little kind of shiner profile on this next jig. I might use bucktail on it. Just a little bit of bucktail and go with more of a minnow presentation. A lot of times if I'm trying to represent like a bug or something, I go with more of a marabou. And if I'm representing a shiner or something like that, I go with the bucktail. Just bucktail kind of stays a little bit more stiff, and then marabou and current too will sway more and kind of puff out if you stop it. A lot of people are putting them on vibrating jigs now, the chatterbaits. I've got asked to do a couple of those. I haven't found any heads yet. All right, here people just want some black black vibrating jigs with marabou on them. Oh, yeah, sweet. Man, that came undone. See if I can get this guy off, actually. Don't really want this loose thread on that jig head there. There we go. Awesome. Okay, gonna grab a little bit of bucktail. Gonna grab the tip of the bucktail if I can find some hair to do it on. Not gonna use that much hair itself. Just enough to make a little tail. Give it a little bit of action in the water when it's under a float. And this is a really, really small jig head too, so really micro. Actually, probably put my fingers over it. You can't even see the jig. There we go. Man, this thread is killing me. Alright, go over that, kind of lock that back into place. Since that thread broke, I'm just going to try to lock that into place, make sure that doesn't go anywhere. Then I can get some chenille on and try to lock this hair down on the shank of the hook without it kind of looking a little weird. So we're going to go down with a chenille body on this bait. I've been super impressed by the looks of this bait recently too. It looks really good for crappie. Clean up this tag end too. And then some of these neck hairs here. There we go. Alright, just fixing up some of this stuff. Crappie are full swing in the marinas by my house too. A lot of people are getting still a lot of crappie. Those are kind of on probably their tail end of being really good before everybody just starts going for trout. They've been good for the last couple weeks, but they're they're starting to dwindle. But this is still a great time to go for crappie in the fall time, and still a lot of panfish, a lot of big bluegills that are sticking around and that'll stay in the marinas all year long. And those big bass are starting to come in and spawn too. It's a great time to get in the marinas as well and fish, just wherever you can get out. Got a boathouse, even better. Alright, get my little bit of chenille on this and finish up the last jig of the day on this hybrid head. Again, I'm loving the look of these crappie jigs. I really got to get out and use them for bluegills or crappie and get my time on the water with them. They look amazing. Doesn't mean they're gonna be amazing. All right, let's start using this rotary tool for what it's used for and going around this hook here and get a body going. You gotta lock up this a little bit better so it doesn't go around. Actually, this would be a perfect time to use this tool. Keep it to the side. And then use my rotary tool and just go around this bait, cover up the neck. Sweet. Just fill in the body of this bait. Move this out of my way. Couple more reps there. Cut that guy off. And there we go. There's our crappie bait. Something super simple. I could even cut this tail down a little bit. Probably would like to. But yeah, sweet. Next time I could add a little bit more to the tail. Don't really need much though, just enough to kind of make a little wiggle in the on the action when you're working that bait. And yeah, that should be perfect for under a float. Let's get a whip finish on this guy and call it a live stream. Hope you guys all have an amazing weekend this weekend. And rather get a big bird if you're in Southern Ontario and turkey season just opened, or if you're in the States and turkey season's been open and you haven't had that much luck. Hope you guys have luck this weekend, or you guys get a big trout or big crappie, big bass. There's so much fun stuff happening in the fishing world right now that I'm super excited to just get out in the water and start fishing. And yeah, going to be posting a video pretty soon. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy that on lake trout. And hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. Catch you guys next Thursday, 7 o'clock Eastern time. See you guys later.